Hi, welcome to the Jam Show. This week I celebrated my 56th birthday anniversary, and I had the pleasant joy to have a family together. And the biggest surprise was that I had my eldest daughter Josetta joining me for this event, and we had a family dinner. And during the family dinner, we play a game that we normally play for those occasions. And the game is what I like about. And I'd like to be able to just take a time to just share feedback we got from what I like about and to share a big lesson. Maybe I'd have to take time to just go back to the last 56 years of my life and says, what are the big stuff that has carried my life? What are the big lessons that have driven everything that I've done in my life? And those are the stuff I may talk about a few today, and then a few maybe in the next coming weeks, just to share some stories of my life.
More and more people are using Rokel SimCopper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Rokel SimCopper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Rokel SimCopper Plus now. You can download the Rokel SimCopper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Wondering how to activate your AfriMoney account? It's easy. Dial *161*8*3#. Enter your default PIN or old PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN and press send. Enter your new PIN again. You'll receive a message confirming your PIN change. AfriMoney. Fast, easy, safe.
In case you're just watching the show, I'm Joe Abbas Bangura. I am a serial entrepreneur, amongst other things that I am, and I've been involved in building about 3 businesses, directly, personally involved, and I've taken one from 0 to over $500,000 US. The other made over $1 million, even though I'm not directly involved now, but now makes in excess of over $2 million US revenue per annum. The reason why I do this show is so that I'll be able to share those lessons, those tools and tricks that I've learned along my journey, and maybe be able to inspire you to be able to also create your own dreams. We want to say thanks to our sponsors, by whose support we'll be able to bring the show to you, and Africell, RC Bank, AYV Media Empire, and the Life by Design Group. Like I hinted just now, I celebrated my 56th birthday anniversary. It fell on Good Friday, and it was a special day. For those of us who are Christians, you know what Good Friday means in the Christian calendar and actually the Christian scriptures. So it was a very special day. We climaxed this day with a family dinner, and during our dinner we normally play a game. With times like this, when we celebrate birthdays of people in our family, we play the game that we title What I Like About. And all we do is to go around the table, dinner table, and share what you like about the birthday celebrant. And so Josetta, the eldest, the middle one is Wisdom, and then we had Adasa, and then there's a little girl, Mahmuda, who's there and joining us as a member of our family that we're providing support for in her house, and it was a beauty to just be there to hear them share. Josetta is not normally in town. Josetta is based in the US, in Atlanta, and you must have also known that we lost our dad 92 years. After 92 years, it was. We'll share some stories about that in another episode. But you know, he's a hero, eternally a hero. I'll take some time to just share what lessons I learned from my father. But then back to my night. It was my night, and a few things were shared amongst the girls, and what I like about. Josetta spoke about resilience that he noticed in me, that she's observed over the years. No matter what, I would always come out fighting. I'll go back home maybe a day beaten and tattered and torn, but I'll wake up the next day fighting. It was about my resilience, and it's connected to what I would like to be able to talk about today, about there being no hopeless situation. There's no hopeless situation. There's no hopeless situation in life. You only have people who've been hopeless about their situation. So that's about resilience, as Josetta said. It's really, Dad, what I like about you, he said, I like your resilience. What did wisdom say? Wisdom spoke about, you know, the drive quite recently, what we did. Again, connected to the big picture of what I want to drive today. I have been introducing some stuff that we do in the car on the way as we drive to work, which has been involved in them listening to motivational and inspirational videos every day and sharing with us on the way what they've learned. And she shared about the fact that she's began to be bold and confident as a result of you know, just putting her through that exercise, learning and sharing and learning and sharing. Her vocabulary has improved tremendously during this process. So this is what I liked about you. And so it was time for little Joella Hadassah to share what she liked about Dad. And Hadassah shared about the disciplines and the rituals we've been trying to build over the last couple of months at home, which included getting up at 5 a.m. and have a strict schedule. Once you get up, there are rituals. It's tidying up and it's exercise, whatever it is for anybody. I jump on my treadmill. Each of them have something they jump onto, but it's exercise, then take their bath, then devotions before we leave for work. But right through each and every one of these activities, it has to be laced with them listening to a motivational or inspirational video. That's the discipline we've been trying to build. And she said she liked that I have been trying to get them to build the structures in life. And again, these structures have made all the difference in my life. So that was our silly game in terms of, you know, my birthday and what I like about Dad. I'll share a bit of my wife and you know, in terms of what she shared, how caring I was for the family and always been there. I've said to her that my biggest joy in life is just being there for them, and my ability to be able to meet their needs is the biggest joy I have in life. To be able to make sure I can take care of my family, I can meet the needs of my family. It's joy for me, and so that was the way we ended the game. But let's come back to maybe pitch on to what my eldest daughter said, Josetta. She spoke about my resilience and to always fight back, no matter what life throws at me. I fight back. And what's going to happen over the next over this year as we take on this new journey that we'll be taking? I will be sharing some deep stuff in terms of things that I had to fight back from and impossible situations and things that's so crazy that, you know, watching me from afar, you wouldn't imagine what I would have had to deal through in my life. Talk about resilience. But let's frame today's talk around there have been no hopeless situations. There are no hopeless situations. You only have people who have been hopeless about their situations. And I can take a pause to just allow that to sink in. There are no hopeless situations. You only have people who have become hopeless about their situations. There's a solution for every problem you face. It's just that you may not have, at this point in time, been able to discover what to do about that problem. And once you get to the problem, to the situation where, you know, I have not been able to get this, we straight away go into our mind and said, no, this problem has no solution, and therefore the situation is hopeless. But it's not. It's not. No situation is hopeless. There is a solution for every problem. You have not just figured it out, and once you do, you'll be able to tackle whatever you've had to face. And one statement people make most frequently, maybe all the time when they're going through these things where they have things happening over and over repeatedly and they've not been able to fix, they will tell you, I have done everything there is to do about it. Are you sure? Are you sure that you have done everything? Now, you may have done some things about this. You may have. You may have done some things. But are you sure you've done everything? And that's a big question. That's where you begin to have a better perspective of life. Because you may have done some things, but I can assure you, you have not done everything that there is to do. If you had done everything, you could have fixed the situation. If you had done everything, the reason why it still exists is because there's something else. There's something that is remaining that you have not done. And so if you wake up one day, you wake up with this mindset, agreeing with me every day that there's a solution for this thing that I'm facing. I have done some things, but I have not done everything yet. And I am sleeping and waking up every day and searching in my mind and looking for what I can do to fix this. And this you could get through books. That's why I tell my kids to read through books, to people who have gone through similar stuff. They share it in books, in videos, audiovisual, in podcasts, or counselors, people around you in church, and wherever you are, you have this, there are people around you who may have gone through what you've gone through, and it's just being able to have the courage to go out there and speak with them. You may have done some things, but you may have not done everything about that situation. So we go back again. There are no hopeless situations in life. You only have people who have been hopeless. They've become hopeless about their situations. You may have done some things, but you may not have done everything that is required. If you had done everything, the problem would have been solved. This is a big one for you to be able to think about and think over and reflect. And so, now, why do I believe this? It's because, part of my life, the tagline, the sub-tagline for the show, it's your life by design. Because I have seen my life being created and recreated, pulled apart and recreated for the last, I told you I've celebrated 56 years. 21st March 1989, that's when this journey started. That was about 3 weeks to my 22nd birthday. I got this eureka moment. I got this spiritual transformation in my life, in front of a pastor. I surrendered my life, in this amazing event that happened, 81 Phillips Street, Wellington. And once I did that, got this huge spiritual transformation. By the time I got to my 22nd birthday, things begin to change in my life. I had decided I had to align my life to the faith that I had confessed. Things needed to change in my life. That's how I began creating and recreating, and this is something I've been doing for the last 34 years. Would you believe this? Last 34 years, from age 22. Now, so I'm saying again to you, there are no hopeless situations in life. There are no hopeless situations. You only have people, and maybe you have become hopeless about certain situations. They all have solutions. You may have done something, you may not have done everything that there is need to do. There is to do about it. If you had done everything, it would have been solved. Big one for you. So I go around and prove this every day. I'll give you 2 examples of how this was proven over the last couple of weeks amongst the people that I deal with, to show that there are no hopeless situations. You may have done some stuff, but you have not done everything that there is to do. And the first example I share with you has to do with my wife. My wife is also part of this, the Life by Design story, my life by design. I met her 1986, 1987, maybe, and it could have been 1986 that we met. The relationship was farmed up and really sealed, around 1987. When I met her, I was 20, she was 18, and we started this journey. part of the decisions I made as I began to realign my life is to, amongst all the girls that were there, I said I chose her, and then she was going to be the one, and then that's when we started this journey, and she's been the mother of my kids. And thank you, Ellen, for hanging in there. But it's been a very interesting journey, growing and supporting each other, learning, hurting each other, making amends, and building each other up. So she constantly, has issues with the kids, as you would imagine. The stubborn kids. Who wasn't stubborn? Go ask my dad. He's now gone. Ask my mom. She's also now gone. But who, in their youthful age, wasn't stubborn? None of us would say we weren't. And so now, but she battles all the time with her daughters at home, our kids, our daughters, and complain about them not being able. And one of the stuff that she had to deal with consistently is them keeping their room clean. And she complains maybe every 2 weeks, every week. And there's a lot to complain about. She had a right to complain. I wouldn't complain. My principle in life, there's a solution to every problem. You may have tried some, but you have not tried everything. If you try the right solution, you would fix it. And it's always about strategy. And this is something I've said to her in the past. Once she gets into one of these situations and complaining about it, I said, Mommy, it's all about strategy. It's all about strategy. There's a solution to every problem. So just a few days ago, I sat her down and said, you know what, do you know you can fix this? And obviously, this is something I have deliberately decided not to get involved in because I wanted her to fix it. And I wanted her to know that it's not about shouting at the kids that she'd be able to fix this, but it's to come up with a solution that works. It's to come up with a strategy that works. And obviously, the best strategy you could come up with is the one that involves the kids themselves. So, in those one of those very good moments where, it's calm, it's loving, and I said to her, do you know that you could actually get these kids to fix this? And the reason why you've not been able to do it is because you've not had the right strategy. And all you've been doing is just wailing and moaning about them not being able to keep their room clean. But you could be able to, if you come up with the right strategy that is designed together with them, you'll be able to do this. I said, try it. And I gave her a few stuff in my life. I'm working on some major revolution in my church and changing stuff, stuff that had been there. Introducing, timed service. It's an opening prayer. It lasts for 3 minutes from 9 o'clock to 9:03 or whatever it was. And the sermon has to last for this time. This has to last for this time. So there's a beginning and the end in the service. And a lot of other crazy things. Typed announcements so that announcements must come in Monday to Friday. After that, nobody brings in an announcement. What else? Systematically, if it's 9 o'clock, service has to start 9 a.m. 9 o'clock. If it's 10 o'clock, it has to start 10 o'clock. Even if there are 2 members in the church, that service has to start. Systematically, strategy, worked with people. Not just doing it, but where's the choir? How do you make sure the choir is there? All the people that are supposed to be able to get the service on, get them to be there. I'm a strategic guy. I don't shout, I don't complain. It's about coming up with the right solution to whatever you're having to deal with. Once I shared those stories and I let her, I said, you know what, if you come up with the right solution to fix the kids and get them to fix their rooms, you come up with the right strategy that you do together with them, you design the strategy together with them, you should be able to fix this thing within 48 hours. If it did last that long, we were again in some privileged conversations on some time, and she came back to me and said, do you know it worked? I said, what? Yes, it worked. I said, what worked? He said, we started organizing and rearranging the kids' room. And he said, it worked. What worked? Oh, the strategy, this issue about strategy. And she said, it worked. It worked. This is something she's been complaining for 5-6 years. She's been complaining all the time, and she just shouts, no. And for one moment, There are no hopeless situations. You only have people having hopeless about the situations they're having to deal with. There's a solution to every problem that you're going through. You may have tried some stuff, but you haven't tried everything that there is to try about the situation. And that's one lesson from my wife. And I can't tell you how joyful I was, because this is something also I've been trying to tell her. It's a strategy you could apply across the board, everywhere, anytime. It's really about having a strategy. You may have done some stuff, but you haven't done everything that there is to do about the stuff. That is why it still remains. That is why it's still there and not solved. The second example I have to give about there have been no hopeless situations, and there have been a solution for every problem you have to face in life. You haven't come up, taking time to come up with the right solution. So that, and it's a funny stuff, because what this does is it stops you from just blaming people. Oh, it's just the kids, I put on the shoes of the other party, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's not about complaining. My objective is, can I get this outcome? How do I get this outcome? What's the best way to get this outcome? If I don't have the outcome, I keep trying. So I'll give you the second example. And again, it's something that happened over the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I have a colleague at work, and in one of the professional assignments that I have, and I've noticed over the last couple of weeks that this colleague quickly gets into a tantrum and complains about everything that is, people not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and frustrated, how frustrated it was about this, and everything that he started complaining. And I said, I've tried 2-3 times, and I said, you know what? If you're in charge, it's your fault. And that's one of my leadership mantra. If you're in charge and things are not working the way they're supposed to work, it's never the fault of the class. It's never the fault of the staff. It's always the fault of the leader. And for me, being a leader to say this, tells you, I believe it to the core of my being. I may have tried some stuff with my team, but I haven't tried everything. And I could dare say I haven't tried the right thing. If I do try the right thing, I'll be able to fix this. It's never not the fault of the leader. It's never not the fault of the leader. That is a mantra, a leadership mantra. In how many years I've had in really top class leadership, and leading people and building stuff from scratch. It's never not the fault of the leader. And I said, obviously, no. If you communicate and they don't get it, they don't act, they don't do what you're supposed to do, it's still your fault. You are in charge. You have an objective to meet. If you don't meet the objective, you failed in execution. And so it's still your fault. And so, he came back again. There was another issue that came up, and it was all over again, just as usual. I sent an email, and this was an email that was sent to heads of departments, and maybe a dozen of them, and nobody came back to him. Nobody responded, and then once we met, and he was so angry, again one-on-one, and he was saying, no, I'm tired, I'm fed up, and all of these things, and nobody even came back to me, nobody even responded, nobody even acknowledged the receipt of the mail. Okay. I said, can we pause for a moment? And, what's your objective at the end of the day? There's a job to be delivered there. Unless that job is delivered, you haven't done everything that you're supposed to do. The first stop is to send the email. That's one thing you're supposed to do. It's not everything that you're supposed to do. Okay, so I said, I know these people. And then I started calling the names of the people, one after the other. And I said, these are all busy people. They are working in this place to make sure this organization is protected and preserved. And I started calling one after the other. Would you look at that person and say that person is, slack? Would you look at that person? And once I started listing the names, and maybe he paused a little. Look, I just called each and every one of the guys and said, look at these names. These are people who, they are holding this organization. If they cannot respond to your email, do you throw everything at them, and of them not being, whatever? Would you? It's just like that, casting them out. No, you cannot at that level. I said, you know what I will do? Maybe you're using the wrong approach, and I'm sure you're using the wrong approach. There's first an email. Okay, could you set up a meeting? Can you send them an email get them to book 1 hour, book 1 hour of their time, because they can put it in the schedule. They're running, things are running after them. If you get them, send up an email, send them an email, follow up with an email, follow up with a phone call, set 1 hour meeting where they could get also their own teams together, would you be able to solve this problem? Would you be able to fix this? Would you be able to now get to talk to them? Because they're super busy. They're running after stuff. And as far as priorities lay up, this would be, the list of the things that would be in their priorities. So make it a priority for them. Come alongside them. Set up a meeting. Sit down with them. Chat. Make it easier for them to do this. And again, that's another leadership mantra that I have. Make it easier for people to help you. And it may, you may disagree with this, but that's how I get things done. I don't pull, a huge bag and hit people in their head and you have to do them. I make it easier for people to help. I make it easier for people to do what they need to do. Is it a framework? Is it a template? Is it a form? Make it easier. Give them something that makes it easier for them to do what they're supposed to do. I said, maybe that would help. What do you think? And, he pondered, we had a meeting, we went on with the meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he came back to me and said, you know what, I think I agree with what you said. I'm going to set up meetings with this. I'm going to bring one of my staff in to be able to make sure they sit in those meetings so that at the end of the meeting, my staff would help these people to do. My staff will help these people to do what they're supposed to do. There are no hopeless situations. You only have people who have been hopeless about their situations. There's a solution to every problem. And you may not have done everything there is to do to fix that problem. You may have done something, but don't tell yourself, I have done everything. If you had done everything, that problem would have been fixed. How do you apply this? Whether it's a school, that you have a bugging problem there that is taken a long time, and it's almost like, the problem cannot be solved. Now, obviously, you have to be a listening leader, because if you talk to the parties that are there, if you talk to the teachers, if you talk to students, if you talk to the parents, I don't know how long you've been in the school, but they all know why that problem hasn't been solved. And so it just takes the humility to be able to just sit down and listen to them and come together. We put a strategy together that these are the 5 things we need to be able to do to be able to get this done. What are those 5 things? Get them as a group, as a committee, to be able to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could do these things. And once you do that, you should be able to come up with a solution that you can now assign roles and responsibility to people, and it can be done. In your home, it's the same thing. What is it that you've been complaining about, for the last 15 years in your house? What is it? Sit down. Is it with your wife? Sit down with your wife. Does it involve the kids? Bring the kids together. Have a meeting. Have a meeting. Take notes. Get one of the kids to take notes. And what problem are we trying to solve? This is problem, that problem A that we're trying to solve. Okay. Why is it important for us to solve this problem? Well, it is important because What pain are we going through? What are we suffering? What are we missing over the, for us not being able to solve this problem? What is it costing us? What is it costing us? It's a workshop. Do a workshop. Well, this is what it's costing us. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5. Okay, how do we fix this? What are the 6 things we need to do to fix this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's rank them in order of priority. Which one comes first? You list them down and who is supposed to do what by when. So you assign, okay, daddy, daddy, you do this, mommy, you do this, son number 1, daughter number 1, this is what you will do, this is what you will do. And you can have weekly family meetings on just what you've agreed as a checklist. On our way to work every morning, I'm working with my girls to develop a checklist. And we walk through them. Once the vehicle takes off in the morning, Wisdom is the secretary for the committee. And Wisdom, okay, what's our checklist for today? And she walks through them. There's a book we need to buy for Adasa. There's this we need to do. There's, templates for the flyer for church. Whatever it is, we walk through them one after the other. Who should do what? She makes a mistake in follow-up. I came back to again. When you're following up with somebody, every 30 minutes, every 20 minutes, give them a call. Once you get a feedback, don't wait in the evening. Send me feedback, particularly if we need to do React. If you send a feedback and haven't gotten back to you, it's something that is urgent, walk to my office. Wisdom works with me at the office. But it's strategy. I could stretch this in the office. I could stretch this everywhere. There are hopeless situations. You have only people who've been hopeless about their situations. If you pull together the right people, you may have done some things, but you may not. You haven't done everything. If you've done everything that's needed to do, the problem would have been fixed. You have to be strategic. You have to be a listening leader. You have to pull everybody together. You have to do a workshop amongst them and list one after the other. Just in the questions that I've just shared, there's no problem you cannot solve. There's no issues you cannot fix. In your church, in your relationship, in your school, wherever you are, there's no issues that you cannot fix. There's no problem that doesn't have a solution. If you use this, something may work, something may not work. you could just amend and adjust. Weekly family meetings and you could fix this. I hope this is useful to you. It's so important. It's a strategy. It's a system. It's a structure that you have to have that solves this problem. If you've tried 5 things, it's still not solved, it doesn't mean you've tried everything there is to try. Try again, talk to more people. There are people who have solved that problem. Wake up every day, energized like the resilient dad that I am. But wake up every day, just be resilient and finding out what more. Who do I talk to? What books to read? Go online, Google, never stop trying. Unless the problem is solved, it's your responsibility to be able to make sure that happens. So continue to join us on our social media handles. Leave a comment, challenge what I've just shared with you. If you have to, like us on Facebook, subscribe to this channel on YouTube, and let's keep this channel growing. And then we'll be able to continuously bring content that would radically transform your life. God bless.